Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Today we're taking a look at the RC4WD Yoda 22RE engine bay for the TF2 chassis, and there it is. This one has been primed by me before I started filming this video and already assembled as well. It is a styrene kit. All the pieces that you need come in the package, and this mounts right up to any standard TF2. So you can put this engine bay in and replace that ugly motor that you might have in your truck and gain a couple of smaller inner fenders as well. So all in all, a great looking kit, really easy to assemble. There are instructions available. I didn't use them, so I hope this is all correct. It looks pretty correct to me. This is the EFI, electronic fuel injection 22RE. Any Toyota from mid-80s would have this motor, so lots of opportunities there for you to use this. And it does come with mounting hardware, which you would use to mount to the interior of your TF2. Also, a little tiny cover for the fuse box. A great set of stickers is included as well. These are all nicely printed, very detailed, and there's a little card as well there for visiting RC4WDrive.com and going to the product page for step-by-step. After priming it with Tamiya Gray, I did a base coat of Mecha Black Primer, which is just a flat black from Vallejo. Here it is all wet and shiny. Give it a few minutes and it will dry. I always try to use a real-world reference when I'm doing some painting, so I did have this handy printout of a very dirty motor that I use to reference for when I'm doing all my detail painting. Of course, that main cover there is going to be red, so I didn't put a lot of black on there, but there is some black on there, and that will be explained in a later step, why I ended up doing that. Just using some brush painting here to do a lot of the detail work. I used a steel paint from Vallejo to paint the EFI cover, and it's it's fine for brush work. It actually does a pretty good job and hides a lot of the brush strokes, which is fantastic. But I mean, it would probably be best if you airbrushed all these details, but that's crazy, man. So there's some of the red paint on the top part of the motor there. It's still very wet at that stage, and will dry nice and flat as well, as you can see. Now, you can see there that some of the black paint is still showing through, and that's to kind of aid in some of the weathering that I'm going to be doing later on. I've also painted some of the other details in silver and some of the other details in white. The battery's now painted as well. All kind of rough, basic colors. There's not a lot of definition, there's not a lot of weathering, but as you can see, as sort of things progress here, little bits of changes are happening, and there all the fuses are painted now, and then the battery terminals are painted, and there's a lot more happening as you move through the steps. And it's all about sort of layering and gathering paint and making it appear old and cruddy. I mean, this comes fresh out of the box, glossy black, and you don't want that. You want this to have some personality and some detail. And it's always better when you weather it out and make it your own anyway. And you get to learn a few things in the process, and it's always very fun and very rewarding way of kind of making this your own. So just painting some of the bolts there with some more chrome. You can see even the master cylinder has gotten a bit of extra detail work as well. Now we're going to get into more of the actual weathering of this cover. It's at this point that I've added a lot of the decals. They may not be the exact right locations. Couldn't find any good references for where a lot of these decals went, but there's the cover for the fuse box, and it's got a sort of a reference for where all those fuses are, what they do. Battery's got some decals on there as well, and there's a little like VIN sticker on there, and even a Toyota logo for the top of the motor there. And now some more weathering. I've added a lot of rust detail and some general motor grime, there are a lot of great acrylic options from Vallejo to do all this sort of weathering. And I've just sort of applied a rough wash in a lot of places and given some detail here and there to really kind of pick out some of these things. And once I get my pin vise, which broke, so I'm getting a new one, I'm going to add all the wiring for the distributor cap as well. Notice I've added some wires for the battery there too. And there it is. Another after all that weathering, I did add some wet effects, mud, and engine grime and soot. So it does have a little bit of extra shine there, and that's sort of to represent sort of like a gloss from like an oil spill or like a wet sort of effect. So I thought that really helped as well. Also did sort of like an overspray with some gray and some light gray, dark gray, and just kind of in a random pattern to make it feel a little bit more dusty and a little more weathered. I think it's a pretty decent representation of what an aged motor would look like. And here it is inside the Toyota Extra cab from RC4WD Drive. I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. It adds a lot of depth and a lot of realism and detail to your finished truck. This one's pretty shiny on the outside, so it probably wouldn't have such a cruddy motor on the inside, but for the purposes of showing it off, it was the best example I had on the bench. And RC4WD Drive did a really nice job on this accessory, and if you are buying one of their new RTR 4Runners, this does come pre-painted and pre-installed in that truck, so nice little RTR bonus for that one. I much prefer doing all the painting and weathering myself, and I'm pretty pleased with the actual outcome of this one. I think it looks really, really good. If you're interested, they are offering this as a separate piece now, so you can pick this up at the RC4WD Drive store. I'll put a link in the description so you can pick one up for yourself. Otherwise, I think that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon. And actually see you next time. Take care.